feeling of calmness and peace is overwhelming when you enter the gates of the Maxwell place. Its large but bearing trees are towers compared to really any tree I've seen before. The stories and tales they hide are basically a written history of this university. The house itself is an old Italian villa architectural style. Its terrace out front is hanging out with a perfect view of the front lawn. The greenery clinging to the house is something to marvel at. The long, circular driveway is home to many species of wildlife, most commonly squirrels. The side of the house is completely complementary to the peaceful nature of the front lawn. It has a pond that trickles down water like some kind of liquid symphony. The chairs where students can just sit and enjoy the scenery is second to none. But it isn't what the place brings that makes it so attractive towards people. It's the environment, the electricity or lack thereof in the air. It's the chillness, the peacefulness, the quiet that so contrasts its hustling and bustling surroundings, making it so attractive to a wide range of diverse individuals, from undergrads, graduate students, professors, doctors, and many more. Many people see the Maxwell place as just a cut-through, but the people who really take time to appreciate it and realize what it truly is, a place where people come to escape the noise, the stress, and just to take their mind off things for a while. The Maxwell Place was originally founded in the early 18th century. Its namesake is for one of the founders of Lexington, John Maxwell. It was used for big social gatherings and even had its own amphitheater called the Bullock House, but it was later burned down. After the Civil War, a famous Lexington businessman bought the house and gave it to his son and daughter-in-law as a wedding gift. It stayed in the family until 1917 when the university bought it and renovated it, adding sides and enclosures to ensure the protection of the house. It was then deemed the president's home after Frank McVeigh and his wife moved in, and it has been ever since. The Maxwell Place has seen many presidents come and go, but its rich history is what makes it so attractive. Walking through, you can sort of feel this historic and monumental vibe that arises when you walk through the courtyard of Maxwell. You are treading on the same path that multiple professional and successful people before you have walked. When walking around, you get a humble feeling of earning your right to be here and being proud to be a student at the University of Kentucky. When talking to my roommate Tyler LeBlanc, he found this to be especially true, being from a blue-collar family and earning his own right to be here. His face brightened up as soon as I asked what it meant to be a Kentucky Wildcat. He looked so passionate, with a fire burning in his eyes and his heart for this university. He simply put,
Being here at the University of Kentucky has been a surreal feeling, to say the least. I never thought I could make it here. Getting my letter was one of my proudest moments in my life. Even though college has been hard and rough, each time I walk through the Maxwell Place, I am reminded of how lucky I am to be here. Because most people where I'm from don't get the opportunity to go to such a prestigious college such as this one.
Tyler is just one of many that feel this overwhelming blessing when walking through the Maxwell Place. I often find myself thinking the same thing, and as a result I am more observant of my surroundings, which can be seen by many that come through this area. Most people are not on their phones or anything. They stop and look around and breathe for a while, taking their mind off their day. The Maxwell Place also gives a homely vibe to this university. It's surrounded by places of industry. Behind this house is the fumes that file out of the chemistry and physics building. It is next to the fine arts building, and it sits right on Rose Street, which seems to be always the center for construction. However, Maxwell Place seems like its own little community within this whole other world on the outside. My roommate Zeke Bialis put it as being at home, as being one of the reasons he is so attracted to the Maxwell Place. Being 3 hours from home, you could tell Zeke was thinking of home when pondering the thought of what drew him to Maxwell initially. His body language was slumped, and his face lit up with memories of home and the connections he drew from being there. He put it as,
Well, I first found Maxwell Place whenever me and a couple friends were trying to get a shortcut that people were telling us about. But after that, it just kind of reminded me of home, so I just kind of kept taking it every day. It's just I'm from Eastern Kentucky, so the animals and all the wildlife just makes me feel at home. So it's calming to walk through there before class every morning.
Many people feel that way. When we think of Kentucky, we think fields of green with huge trees and beautiful green grass with marvelous bright flowers, which is often a common misconception with the city of Lexington. However, with Maxwell, it is as if it came out of our song, My Old Kentucky Home. This certain peacefulness often draws the deep thinkers, the type of people that often spend a lot of time thinking about the world. Zeke sitting back in his chair with an expression of someone in deep thought, thinking of the best way to describe himself or the common qualities that bring us all to Maxwell. He finally, after a couple seconds of thought, came up with,
Normally, the kind of people I think the Maxwell Place attracts are the more artistic people, or the ones that just need to get away from the whole college life to really focus on their creative flows. Sometimes I see business people out there. It's just a nice place for anybody that wants to get away from the loud, noisy college life.
we share the opinion that the space could open up the minds of any person that walks through. Rather, it is through being thankful of getting the opportunity to follow the footsteps of legends or to get a little touch of home right on campus. Some might say that Maxwell is unknown and no one really cares about it other than just to cut through to class. One of my fraternity pledge brothers, Justin Rolfe, can attest to this. When I asked Justin what the Maxwell place meant to him, he sort of just looked at me with utter confusion, basically conveying the message, why should I care about the Maxwell place? Not many people come through Maxwell because it is generally unknown and makes people not care about it as much. However, for most people walking through the courtyard, listening to the wildlife and the sounds of the fountains, it means something. Not many people knowing about it can also be a good thing. When talking to Zeke about it, he thought of it as an immediate bad thing. However, after wrestling with it for 1 or 2 more seconds, he came to the conclusion that it was good for Maxwell. He said,
I believe that this is a pro because, if too many people know about this place, it might get too crowded and it really loses serenity. Right now, it's just a calm, peaceful place you can walk through to get away from it. And if it gets too crowded, then it might lose that special feel you get when you walk through it every day.
in conclusion, the Maxwell Place is one of the most hidden gems on campus. It brings together the people who just want to escape life for a while and brings them to an area where you can do that. Maxwell is not just a shortcut, it is a whole nother world inside a bigger one. With its rich history, invisibility, and touch of home, Maxwell is all you could ever ask for. It is a special place to many, and it should be respected by all for that very reason.